Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel, and if you're stopping by for the first time, I'm Gift God's Time by name, and to all my existing subscribers, thank you for your support. So today's tutorial I'm going to be teaching you how to sew this straight dress for a 1-year-old and how to form the petals at the bottom of the dress. And if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please do and like this video. Kindly stay tuned. I'll be using the pattern for a 1-year-old. I already made this tutorial and I'll drop it on the description box. So next I'll be using a light scuba fabric for this project, and I'll fold my fabric in two and then place my pattern on it. The way I'll be placing my pattern on the fabric is the folded part of the pattern will align with the folded part of the main fabric. Next, I'm going to take the length in which I want it to be. I want it to stop directly on the nail, so I'll be using 20 inches for it. So I'll be drawing a horizontal line across, as you can see. So next, I'm going to take 2 inches from the side seam, 2 inches all through. Because this is a free dress, I'm not putting a zip for it. It's a light scuba fabric, it stretches, so these 2 inches will fit perfectly for the child. So I'm just going to connect it because it's a straight dress. So I'll connect that armhole that I extended the 2 inches to my main pattern, and always pin your pattern so that it doesn't move. Next, I'm going to cut it out. So this is how it will look like when you open it up. This is for the front part. So we'll cut the back now. So this is how the front is. So we'll do the same thing for the back. We'll fold our fabric in two and then place our pattern. This back pattern, I'm going to be closing up the zip part because I'm not using zip for this project, so I don't need that zip extra allowance. So I'm going to close it up, as you can see, then place my back pattern on fold with the fabric on fold, and then measure my length which I want, which is the 20 inches, and do the same thing I did for that of the front to the back. I'm also going to add extra 2 inches on the side seam, and then I will cut it out. So this is how yours should look like. Both the front piece and the back piece, they are cut on fold, and when you open it up, this is how it should look. So the difference between the front part and the back is the neckline and the armhole. That is the only difference. So next, I'm going to cut out the facing, which is also like a lining for it. It's not a full lining, it will stop halfway. So I'll place my fabric on fold, as you can see. Then the main fabric I already cut, I'm also going to align it just to follow the neckline and the armhole. So from the armhole, I'm going to go down by 3 inches. So that is how I want it to be, the length. So I'm going to cut it out. So this is how my facing is. So I'm going to place it on the main fabric to turn the neckline and the armhole to give it that good finishing. So that's why I'm using this facing. Now for the back lining of facing, there is a quite difference between that of the back and the front, because there is an opening at the back. So I'm going to notch the midpoint of both the main fabric and the lining, as you can see from the video. So this is how I'm going to place it, and I'm going to sew till that midpoint. Now from that midpoint, I'm going to come down by 4 inches. So I'm going to draw a straight line. Next, I'm going to take 1/2 inch on both sides of that straight line. So I'm just making sure that I'm stopping at that 4 inches. So this is the 1/2 inches I'm taking at both sides. So this is how I'm going to sew. When I sew my neckline, once I reach to that point, I'm going to sew it straight down and curve it and to the next one. That is how I'm going to sew it. I believe my hands illustrate it far better. I'm done sewing it. So that center part, that is the midpoint of the neckline, I'm going to cut open it. So I'm going to cut it till I get to that 4 inches, and then this is how I'm going to notch the curve so that it will be able to open up freely. Next, I'm going to notch all that point, as you can see from the video, and also the neckline. I'll go ahead to flip it over to the other good side, and at that point I already add the loop which I'll be attaching to the button. So this is how it is. This is the back part, and will place the button so that it will fit on the loop perfectly. For the front part, I'm also going to sew the neckline and also give it a notch so that by the time I flip it over, it will relax properly. So I'll be placing the right side of the fabric, that is the front part and the back part together, and this is how I'm going to sew the shoulder part so that it gives me a good finishing. That is the facing will face the facing, that is the front and the back piece and the front piece will face each other together. Next, I'm also going to sew the side seam of the main dress. So this is what I mean. This is how the shoulder is. Both the front, the inside and the outside, it's neat, and this is the armhole and the neckline. It has a good finishing. So this is it. This is the dress on the outside part, and I'm going to flip it over so that you can see the inside part, how neat it is as well. So this is the inside part. As you can see, it's looking very neat. Next, we'll proceed for the petals at the borders. So I'll take my pattern paper and fold it into 2 and fold it again into 4. So we're going to make a circle out of it, and this is how to make a full circle. So I'll be using 3 inches because I want the length to be 6 inches, but at the end I want it to be 5, so I'll be using 6 for now so that I can make my adjustments. So I've gone ahead to mark 3 inches round all through, so by the time I open it, it will be 6 inches. So I'm going to cut it out, as you can see from the video, and when I open it, we have a full circle. This is it. This is the full circle. So by the time you measure from one tip to the other, you will have 6 inches. So this is it. This is the 6 inches, but I don't want a circle shape. I want an oval shape. So I'm going to manipulate this circle to give me that oval shape. So I'm cutting extra out of it. So that's why I made it 6, because at the end I'll arrive at 5. So this is the shape which I want. So this is how I'm going to cut it on my main fabric. So as you can see, at the end I'm arriving at 5 inches, which I wanted at first. So next I'm going to take my fabric and fold it in to 2, 4, as many as you can fold it to get many of these petals. So I'll go ahead to cut my cut the petal out on the fabric. So these are the petals, and I'll be cutting a lot of it to give that fullness, so you'll be needing much of it. So I've gone ahead to cut as many as possible for it, and I will be placing it now on the dress. For you to place the petals on the dress, I split open the dress till 5 inches by the sides, as you can see from the video. So next I'm going to take the petals and fold it into 2. As you can see, you can also iron it to get that crease line so that you will be sewing at the midpoint. So next I'm going to place it on my dress and then sew at that midpoint, at that crease line. So that crease line actually guides you. So I'm going to be placing as much as possible and I will align them. Now for this project, I will be using 1 inch spacing for it. So you can also make yours 1/2 inch, whatever, according to how much fabric you have for it. So when you get to this side, you are going to seal it up. After sealing it up, then you will place your petals on the side seam. So I've gone ahead to attach some of the petals, and this is how it is. So it's looking more like a book being flipped or petals. So this is what I'm saying. I've also sewed the side seam. So this is it. I'll place one of the petals on it and sew it down. So this is the outcome of it. It looks pretty. So the more you have more of these petals, the more beautiful it is. So I've attached literally all of them, and this is the 1 inch spacing I did. Is 1 inch apart from each petals, I mean. So your choice of fabric matters. Not all fabrics can give this effect. And also, if you are making it for a child like 1 year, please don't make it too bulky so that it's not heavy for the child. Lastly, we'll proceed to the bow on the shoulder. So this is the fabric I'm using. It's satin. So I've gone ahead to cut out 2 of this square shape, and one part is measuring 8.5 and the other part is measuring 10. So it's not square, it's kind of rectangle. So I'm going to sew at the ends, the 4 ends, but the last one I'm going to sew halfway so that I'll be able to turn it inside out. Then for the long strip on the shoulder, I've gone ahead to measure this fabric of the length of my choice, and I'll be using 5 inches width. So by the time I fold it into 2, it will turn out to be 2.5, and I'll be using 1/2 inch to sew it. So at the end, I'll arrive at 2 inches for the width. So I'll go ahead to sew them, and I'll be leaving a little bit for me to open it up. So this is for the bow, and I'll open it up, and this is how it is. This is the right side. So I'll use the help of anything to be able to get all the points, all the edges pointed. So next I'm going to seal up that opening with a hot glue, the opening in which we use in turning it. I will seal it up with hot glue. So after putting the hot glue, I'm just going to press it, and it's sealed properly. So you be careful while using this glue because it's very sticky, so that it doesn't mess up your fabric. I'll do same for the opening of the bow. I'll also use the hot glue and seal it up so that all 4 points are done neatly. While still working with the bow, I've gone ahead to iron this part of the fabric, as you can see. So I'm going to fold it in using those creased line as I ironed as a guide. So I'm going to also fold it again, as you can see from the video. So after getting this shape, next I'm going to pinch it at the midpoint just to get a pleat to form the bow. So the video illustrates it much better. So I'll be using my threaded needle just to secure this shape that I have formed at the midpoint. So I'm going to tie it, as you can see from the video, and get it firm. I also went ahead to attach that knot to make it look more like a bow. So next I'm going to attach the bow and the long strip to the dress itself. So firstly, I'm going to take the long strip and I'm going to attach it at the shoulder, and I don't want it to be equal. I want the back to be shorter and the front to be longer. So I'm going to pinch it at the midpoint and then attach my bow, and I'll be using thread and needle to attach the two of them together. So we are done with the dress. If you've watched this video to this point, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.